everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fluff in the Corporate Space by Saffron Conscious. Today, I would like us to talk about leading through grief and how the journey to wholeness process can support you in loss. Grief is one of the most profound human experiences, shaking our very foundation and challenging our sense of identity, purpose, and resilience. When loss strikes, particularly in the midst of leadership and responsibility, the weight can feel unbearable. Grief and leadership often feel at odds. One calls for deep healing and the other demands resilience. Yet, the journey to wholeness process teaches us that embracing grief can strengthen leadership, fostering authenticity, compassion, and purpose. As a corporate heart guide, I approach grief through the lens of wholeness, understanding that healing is not about moving on, but about integrating loss into our lives in a way that allows us to remain open, present, and deeply connected to ourselves and others. Grief is not something we get over. Instead, it transforms us, requiring us to be with our pain, listen to what it reveals, and allow it to reshape our understanding of life. The journey to wholeness process invites us to embrace grief as a teacher rather than a burden to be carried alone. Here's how we can embrace this process. We can embrace the full spectrum of our emotions. In the corporate environment, we are often expected to compartmentalize our emotions, showing up as strong and unwavering. But wholeness teaches us that true strength lies in allowing ourselves to feel deeply. Grief is a process that demands we honor all emotions, sadness, anger, confusion, even relief, without judgment. When we suppress grief, it lingers in our body and manifests in unexpected ways, from burnout to disengagement. Finding flow. Rather than force, water is a core symbol in my work. And it teaches us that healing is about flow rather than resilience. When we allow ourselves to move with grief rather than against it, we begin to integrate loss in a way that softens us instead of hardening us. Whether leading a team or making critical decisions, we must recognize that pausing, reflecting, and making space for grief is not a sign of weakness, but of conscious leadership. 3. Storytelling is a tool for healing. One of the most powerful ways to process grief is through storytelling. In my workshops, we guide teams in shaping their experiences, not just in the context of work, but in the fullness of their lives. When leaders open up about their grief, they create an environment where others feel safe to do the same. This deepens human connection, fostering an authentic workplace culture that is rooted in empathy. Beyond intellectual understanding, grief is something we experience energetically. Our bodies hold on to sorrow, often creating blockages that can manifest as physical discomfort, exhaustion, or emotional numbness. Energy healing offers a powerful way to move through grief in a way that words alone cannot describe. 1. We release stagnant energy. Grief can feel like a weight that's pressing on the chest, a lump in the throat, or a dull ache in the body. Energy healing, whether through Reiki, intuitive touch, or ancestral healing, helps release this stagnant energy, thereby allowing emotions to flow more freely. 2. Restoring balance and grounding. When grieving, we often feel disconnected from ourselves and the world. Energy healing helps bring us back into balance, grounding us in the present moment. Simply practicing things like breath work, visualization, or placing our hands on the heart can create a profound shift. 3. Reconnect with love and purpose. Grief can sometimes make us feel untethered, as though we've lost our place in the world. Energy healing helps us remember that we are not alone. Our ancestors, loved ones, and the universe itself continues to hold us. By attuning to the deeper connection, we begin to see loss not as an end, but as a transformation of the love that remains. Let's explore how we can lead while grieving, using a heart-centered approach. If you find yourself having to lead while grieving, here are some ways to integrate the journey to wholeness into your leadership. Acknowledge your humanity. You don't have to have all the answers. Allow yourself to be vulnerable with those you trust. Create a space for others because grief is universal. By making room for conversations about loss, you foster a culture of emotional intelligence and true connection. Listen to your body. Take rest when needed. Move gently. Engage in healing practices that support you. Trust the flow. Healing is not linear. Some days you will feel lighter than others. Be patient with yourself. Grief is not something to escape, but something to honor. When we embrace it with openness, reflection, and healing, we emerge not as broken versions of ourselves, but as more whole, compassionate, and deeply connected beings. And in that wholeness, we find the strength to lead, not despite our grief, but because of it. Remember, like water, flow with ease and gentleness, and let's continue to navigate the currents of our own lives. Till next time.